Mrs. Morbius, I presume?
Get lost, you creepy crawly. I don't like strangers around when my kids are out playing.
Your kids? Looks like they could use a major timeout.
Squash this bug, my darlings.
I imagine not that many people are familiar with Shriek, but anyone who is might be surprised to see her in this state. Anyway, she has one of the local gangs of New York working for her, the Waste Tribe, and she seems to call them her children. Meaning she might have some sort of obsession with family. We have no idea yet what the source of Shriek's magic power is. We just showed up and she was already doing all this crazy shit. We've only seen her fly, and I guess maybe she caught these cars on fire through one method or another, so we don't know the extent of the powers either. She may be the most powerful villain ever, or she could just levitate. We have no idea yet. I goof up a couple of times here, but that's because we're back to fighting enemies with shields, and I wasn't used to that, what with all the lizards. Anyway, while we do eventually find out what the source of Shriek's powers are, in her original comic book incarnation, her powers are a bit of a mystery. She was mentally unstable, did a lot of strange drugs, was sent to Cloak and Dagger's Dark Dimension, more specifically Cloak's Dark Dimension. She was also shot in the head by the police. So, any of those things, or maybe a combination of all of them. It's intentionally never made clear exactly what caused her, supernatural powers, if they even are supernatural, in the original comics. We don't get as much information on her backstory in this game, but we can assume it's not very similar.
What the heck did she do? I better go see if everyone's all right.
Everyone, come over here!
I'm warning you, pest. Leave me alone.
You'd have to be brainwashed to happily run into a cloud of toxic gas.
Now she's using some sort of obelisk to control people's minds to some extent. And if you're wondering where she got that obelisk, that's never made clear, so sorry about that.
What are you doing?
So is she causing all this chaos just to keep us away from her? Or is she causing it for some unknown reason? Excuse me, I don't want to see the inside of the ambulance. She was already causing chaos before we got here, even though it wasn't with the magic obelisk yet. Maybe she just got pissed that we showed up, so she graduated to obelisk magic. We unfortunately don't get to learn very much about the Waste Tribe either, though we do get to learn a little bit from their interactions with Shriek. I do really like their design. They have a kind of primal tribal look about them, and they use things like street signs as weapons instead of swords or anything professional. I believe the larger ones use an entire street lamp as a weapon, which is pretty badass. Even though this gang of enemies is definitely weirder than all the others, you can still take them out on the world map like any of the other gangs. For all intents and purposes, they have the same kinds of missions. The reasoning for those missions is always different, but the kind of mission is the same regardless of what words come before it.
No offense, but you're no Green Goblin. That should do it. Now to get back to Morbius's wife.
Things are getting really weird in the universe of Spider-Man right now. It's kinda hilarious to imagine this story arc being included in the actual movie. Man, people would have flipped their shit.
Fool, I have more power than you can imagine.
Then I guess I'll need to introduce you to the term rolling blackout. The source of her power appears to be coming from that obelisk. She seems to be transferring energy from that obelisk. Might be good to get a closer look at that rock.
I'm not sure how you define jumping the shark in comic books, but this is definitely a bit off in context with the movie universe Sam Raimi made. That's not to say I care any. Weird's fine by me. So we have to bounce her energy blasts off those satellites and back into the obelisk. She'll put the shield back up before too long, but hopefully we can yank a meteorite free before then. I apologize, they're satellite dishes, not satellites. I'm not sure why there's 4 of them on this single roof, but whatever. Something I didn't say wrong, however, is that these rocks we're pulling out of the obelisk are in fact meteorites. And the tutorial for this boss fight even tells us so. You might already be able to see where the story is going, and if you do, you might have already realized that this changes a lot more than you might have anticipated. But for now, all we know for sure is that her powers are related to these meteorites somehow. And taking the meteorites out of the obelisk appears to be damaging it in some way. I just realized through all of this you might be wondering why she's even named Shriek. We'll get to that later.
You will pay!
Just like my black suit. No wonder it drove her nuts. I'd better tell Dr. Connors about this.
His condition is worsening. If we can't cure him, he'll die. You have to get his wife here.
Don't give me orders. Sorry.
Please, help me. If my wife won't come, then take me to her, please.
Michael, you won't make it. If we move you, you might die.
She's the only hope I have.
Doc, he's right. It's our only choice.
So we shook down some of the Waste Tribe members to find out where Shriek is hiding. Which, again, I cut out for your convenience.
Is that too much to ask?
And Spidey drowned, but it's okay because he respawned. Anyway, we shook down some of the Waste Tribe members, which is basically just more of those crime patrols you saw at the beginning of the game, which you'll see plenty of after the game is over. You don't really learn anything new about the Waste Tribe from the crime patrols either, other than they're very superstitious. Anyway, we didn't learn the exact location of Shriek's hideout, but we've been following a trail of meteorites that have just been sitting around the city. A trail of meteorite shards, rather. And if we follow all of them, we're bound to find her hideout, right? Because that makes sense, or something. Maybe she just accidentally dropped a lot of them on the way here. Either way, we did actually find her hideout, so we need to get back to Dr. Connors. Yeah, we don't really get a cutscene this time. Morbius is just sitting here already waiting for us. He's also very stiff while we carry him, unlike the other characters which, move around. He is about to die, though, so maybe we should let him have that. Speaking of that, if we don't reach Shriek's hideout within the time limit, he will die, and it will be all our fault. So let's get there as soon as possible, yeah? They actually give you plenty of time. It's not all that far away, even considering we have to cross a bridge to get to it. Though Grand Central Park is a pain, as you're seeing. Whoop, that was close. So we're just gonna skip to when we get much closer. If that's alright with you, I mean. You can watch this for a few more seconds if you like. Are you good? Okay, let's go.
Sorry to interrupt the family hour, but somebody needs your help.
Leave us.
What did you do to me?
I never meant to hurt you, my darling. I released the blood pathogens you were researching in your lab. They must have poisoned your system. But I can make you stronger again, my love. Stronger than ever. With my loyal followers, the family we wanted is finally ours. Together we can have everything we desire. And more. And no one can stop us.
Whoa, something tells me the love scene is over.